What is up?
Woo!
We are live on the Creative Rant. I should zoom this out so I'm more aligned with how you look. But I should probably do this. This looks way better. No one wants that, right? Yeah.
Hi.
Hey!
Looky right here.
Hey!
Yeah.
All right. So before we went live, we were talking about topics to discuss today. And today I did a photo shoot over at Evolve Technology in Orlando, and I got to work with this new light called the Prolect. Prolect.
It's Prolict. It has to be. Licht. Right?
Yeah, I think they're just trying to get creative. I think it's like,
It's not creative. It's spelled wrong.
spelling like skills with a Z. Skills.
But it's not because skills. That's you say
Whoa.
skills. That's Prolict.
Yeah.
That's
So let me.
someone's name over there is Licht.
It sounds German, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go. Hold on. Let me turn my Facebook post into public so that everyone can comment. So if you think it's pro-licht, vote in our chat. If you think it's pro-light, I honestly think it's supposed to be pro-light. I just think they decided on a horrible name. So that's like, it's just too close to try to be like light. Anyway, yeah, I photographed with these
Wait.
Orion.
Oh, it's a Y. Prolict.
It is, right?
Prolict.
It's pro-light.
I guess so. It still doesn't spell prolight though.
No, it definitely says licked.
No, it says liked. That'd be
Liked.
liked. Pro-liked.
Pro-liked. Yeah. So I shot with 4 of these Orion 300s. Really cool light to work with. It does a full spectrum of color, different effects. Really, really dynamic light. So I did video as well as photo with these today, and mixed in the AD600. So this is probably a good example of a company that should not be naming or branding their company, and they should just focus on how awesome their lights are.
Maybe.
So it's got like this panel on the bottom. But yeah, pretty good light. And then the other topic we were going to talk about
what makes them good.
Oh, so let me. What makes them good is
I don't even know why they're good.
I'm going to share some of the photos that I took today. So these are raw right out of camera. What makes them good is they're bright enough to work pretty seamlessly with strobes. So I could still get these super tack sharp strobe. You can actually see part of the strobe light up here, but these lights here are actually from the Pro Lights. But typically when you're shooting with hot lights and strobe lights, the strobe lights will overpower the hot lights, because usually the hot lights aren't that bright.
Mm-hmm.
Or unless they're really expensive. And it also, the strobes typically flood out any of it. You can see how the background light's pretty faded. If I just select one of these and go back to the raw, that's pretty close to what was that's kind of the look that I was going for, more silhouetted.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a pretty good mix of the two.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is when you gel a light, it typically lowers the lumens of it. So if I was shooting with a strobe, I can't really see where the hot light or where these lights will fall on him. So when you're doing creative lighting like this, the hot lights are definitely better for working with where you're what you see is what you're going to get type of photography. And then I knew that this was going to come in and just kind of give you that little highlight,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty much what I was going for. Um, but yeah, pretty dynamic little light. So,
Cool.
and by little, I mean they're pretty big.
Yeah.
Let me. Here's a photo of. So this is all four of them. Two of them I was shooting with a Fresnel lens on it to kind of give me that more like hot
Focus.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the focus spot on the wall. And then this one I had no. This one I was just doing a flood of
Mm-hmm.
green on the background, and then this one here I actually had a softbox for the video where this was more of a 5500 color temperature onto the subject so that he was actually had decent skin tones.
Do they have fans in them?
So they might, but I didn't hear them. I didn't
Okay.
hear them at all. I think these lights definitely have some kind of exhaust, but most of the power is going to be down here on this system. And the cord's pretty long. You can move this to a different
Oh,
spot.
gotcha. Is that the battery?
This is no, it's not a battery. They are powered, so you need two wires per. So one wire goes from the ballast up to the light, and the other goes from the wall to the ballast.
Gotcha. So there's no
So
battery?
there's no battery. These are hot lights only.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
the one downfall that I noticed with this is that, or actually, you know what? I lied. You can use a battery on these. They have these that Sony V or that Owens. Well, I forget what it's Eddie like the what is it called, the Bauer mount or something, like not Eddie Bauer, but it's got that big battery mount here on the side.
Okay.
So I think you can mount a battery onto this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
think
well, that
it's,
sucks. You can't.
yeah.
Like,
They're not going to last long though. Like you're going to be pretty much using, I'm almost positive this is a battery mount. Uh, the one of the downfalls is this extension, the plug from the actual ballast to the wall isn't that long. So
okay.
it's pretty tiny. It's probably about 4 or 5 feet. It's not long at all.
4 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty lousy.
Yeah. It's not too good. So anyway, that's what I was shooting with today. We brought those down from the XR lab that was up in Atlanta.
Hmm.
So, but yeah. So nice strobe on the subject to bring in the skin tones. And then these lights on the background, the pro lights.
Cool.
So kind of a cool shoot. We had
Yeah.
fun.
Uh,
I tried to mix in some of
Dude, I can
the
already tell. Those are the best pictures that guy's ever had taken of him.
well, he has having photos taken by me before, so
Well, okay, besides you, then. Then those were
he
just
has
some
some
other version
cool.
of this.
Yeah, Clem's always he's always very down to create and down to uh, allow you to do what you do.
What's the
So he's
grid?
the grid is from so he's a projectionist, and the grid is what projectionists use to to basically warp and blend and blend two projectors together. So if they're doing two screens, they'll bring the mesh together and kind of warp it to make sure it looks like a grid.
Hmm,
So it's a tool that they use to get it fit on a screen. I'm sure it's way more technical than that, but yeah,
whatever.
I'm sure I'm downplaying what it is projectionists do,
Yeah,
but that's part of it is the blending and warping. So I thought it was cool to kind of hit him on the face with it and then play a little bit with that. So
cool.
and I also did I like these ones were pretty cool too.
What was that, a clicker?
So a clicker, that's
Like a
the remote
PowerPoint
for the
clicker?
Yeah, is turning on Fortnite
Yeah,
with it. No, this is the remote for the actual projector itself.
cool.
So, yeah,
Hmm.
really cool, kind of fun to play with. Um, I did some more of the fisheye. I thought that was pretty cool,
Yeah.
showing off the two projectors. There's a
Hmm.
lot of lens distortion with that one, but um, there we
Oh,
go.
no, I like it with it.
With the distortion,
Yeah.
yeah,
That without it, it makes the other stuff look more normal, and it makes his head look skinny.
yeah,
Like,
it doesn't match the distortion. Yeah, I get what
yeah.
you're saying.
Like I don't know, like fisheye people that I mean, I've heard people before like, "Oh, I don't like the lens distortion. It makes everyone look weird." And it's like, "Yeah, but I don't know. That's like the look of it. As long as you're not like
Kind of the point,
crazy
right?
fisheye. Well, as long as you're not like going nuts, because you can get those fisheyes that are just like it's like you're straight up looking through a bubble. Uh, those are
Yes.
those are crazy. But I mean, I like that 16
Yeah, it's becoming one of
for
my
the long.
favorite lenses.
Yeah,
I wish they had it as a prime lens because then I could
I thought
pop it
they
off
do.
there
I
because
thought they do.
I think they do, but I think it's pricier. I think it's a
Oh yeah.
pricier lens. Yeah, and I have to find it for the FX mount or the FX full frame for Nikon,
Mm-hmm.
but
Nikkor,
Nikkor lens.
Nikkor, Nikon. Sorry, I have to
Yeah,
make fun of that every time I hear it.
yeah,
I always give a hard time every time I hear that because I think that Nikkor, which is Nikon's lens line, sounds
yeah,
like it's a knockoff of its own line. Well, I'm like
yeah.
talking
Like
to
it's
people who
the
don't
no
know what I'm
name
complaining
brand for
about.
Nikon.
It's like instead of it being Nikon lenses, no, this is Nikkor
Yeah.
lenses. Like it sounds like another company is ripping it off, like selling them on the street or something.
Yep. Yep.
No, this isn't real. It's like instead of Coach, it's like I don't know, Coach, but COWCH. This isn't Coach. This is Couch.
COTCH
Yeah,
coach.
yeah, yeah. That's why I'm complaining about that.
I've never dug into the history of Nikkor slash Nikon.
I don't
So
know.
it's funny because
It's Nikon and
Fuji,
Power
but
put
Fuji did the
together.
same thing. So Fuji has Fujinon lenses. Isn't that weird?
Fujinon.
Fujinon.
I think that's weird, but I think it's less weird because it at least like adds letters. It doesn't
Well,
just
and I
switch
mean,
one. Fujinon.
if you have 200 and $212,000.
Yeah, that I ordered that lens.
You ordered that. It's on back order. It's a
Yeah,
special order. It's
that's
available in two
well,
to 4 weeks.
but Rich, that's one of the things that I've tried to buy, but they won't let me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$212,000 for a lens. So I keep getting ads from B&H for a camera that I've been looking at and had my eye on. This here. So literally, the subject line of this email is free expedited shipping on Nikon Z9 mirrorless camera. Free expedited shipping on a camera that, if it would let me click on it, is not available. It's not available. I have no idea why this won't open in a new window. There we go. New item coming soon. Can't even buy it,
But you get expedited shipping.
but I get expedited shipping.
Can you own it? Like, can you pre-order it and there's like a Can you own it? Can you pre-order it and there's like a date where it's going to get to you? Or is it just one of those just just order it and we'll
Just order
see,
it, and we'll
and
we'll
then you're
work
just
on getting it out to you.
into oblivion? That's
Yep.
so annoying, dude.
And then
That
they've
was
got
like,
this free shipping on a Canon EOS R3, which is, let's see if that one's available. New item
no,
coming soon.
yeah, no way. Yeah. Yeah.
24 megapixels.
Hmm.
24 megapixels for a $6,000 camera.
What's it do? Is that
This
one of those
will,
sports cameras?
yeah, this is one of those sporty cameras. They're
Yeah.
trying to get you on the
Frames per
appeal to
second.
this would be the frames per second.
Yeah.
Um, let's see,
Which, hey,
21.
it's like I'm actually liking these low megapixel cameras for video. It's like if you
I
can
lo-
make those look crystal clear while also being like buttery, okay, I
yep,
guess. Like,
dude. I
but
watched
I
this
wouldn't pay
video
20 grand
here.
for that.
This video right here. This video, wildlife in 8K
Uh huh.
on the Z9
Uh huh.
is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Like,
Hmm.
I was like, how is this possible? I'm not gonna play it because it'll
Was it
probably,
shot in like 20-second bursts, like 8K?
yeah, it's probably
Like,
overheating. The camera
yeah.
probably caught on
Wee,
fire
wee, wee,
afterwards.
wee. Is it all like voiceover because the audio kept picking up all the alarms?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is a Nikon, not a Canon. I don't, yeah, dude. The sharpness on this is insane.
Hmm.
I think 8K is still way too overkill for things, but
Yeah.
um, it's pretty wild. And no pun intended, but it's insane.
Hmm.
Anyway, I think 8K will be good for punching in on footage, but I don't think it's going to be a norm unless it's like a specialty thing that we're trying to do. And especially in the live events industry, they just recently started adopting 4K.
Yeah.
That industry always pushes against new technology for the longest time. And mostly, I think it's because they have such um, high overhead for converting to that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like this gradual shift in an industry where a lens costs $212,000. You can't just go out and upgrade to an 8K lens. Well,
Well,
one, they don't have it yet, but
and it's on every level. So I got that 75-inch LG UHD TV,
yeah,
and so it just so happened that the first movie that I watched on that wasn't available in 4K, and it
yeah,
played fine, like totally fine. And then I tried to watch Pacific Rim Uprising, and that is like 4K UHD.
yeah.
And dude, it kept like stuttering. It wasn't like a stutter, like nothing was catching up. It was like a frame was missing. And I
Huh.
was like, what is happening? And it's the kind of thing, dude, where it was so subtle. It was like, is this just how this movie is? Do
Yeah.
they just, or am I, is it just like buffering? So I was like pausing it, waiting to see like if it would play better if I waited a second. And then I found out that there was some setting on the back end that hang on. I have a visitor here. Oh, there you go. I got it. Where'd it go? She's
She
trying to
wants to
have
be
me
on the
clean her
Creative Rant.
like her candy thing. All right, hey, go with Nova. Go with Nova. Close the door.
This is
Um,
a good point to remind everyone that uh, Nikon is better than Sony.
yeah. Sorry. Anyway,
Yeah,
uh, anyway, it was a setting on my TV that affects 4K. but it doesn't affect anything under that because the streaming hasn't figured out how to deal with that setting yet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so
Was it
everything
streaming
looks
directly through
fine.
the TV?
No, through my Xbox.
Yeah.
Like I fixed it. It was like an instant response game setting. It wasn't the smoothing. It was like this thing.
Gotcha.
It's this setting that makes it so there's no latency when you're playing video games. Uh Even with 4K. But
Yeah.
all the other streamers, including, so I was watching that on through like Microsoft, through like where you buy the movies on that. But then I
Yeah.
switched over to Netflix and I was watching a 4K movie on that and it was doing it. I was like, okay, so it's not just the Microsoft one, it's all of these. They're having, so I turned that setting off and then they all played fine. It's like, so they're
Gotcha.
all kind of like still trying to and then I looked it up and they're like, yeah, they're still trying to navigate their way through all these TV settings. They're still trying to have like still trying to figure out how to make 4K push through all of these settings and work with all this stuff. And I mean, which is kind of crazy because how long has 4K to me has been around for over 5 years.
Yeah.
To me, like, I mean, maybe not to the everyday public, but it seems like these companies have had a long time to be like, okay, 4K is a thing. We need to figure this out. I mean,
On
maybe I'm
August 22nd, 2012, LG announced the world's first 4K TV.
really
So, yeah, so 10 years.
okay. Let's give them 6 more years, I guess. After that, for like everybody to kind of like start doing it a little bit,
Yeah.
and even then that was so after they had 6 years to implement, make TVs, everybody to get on board, that would be 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, or 4 years ago. I mean, it's like,
And 8K is 2022. It's literally this April 6th is like the first three TVs.
which is funny because 8K has been available on cameras for a while. It's like, what have you been doing with it?
Yeah.
Just cropping?
Yep. Well,
I
even
only
with those
shoot
projectors
8K.
that you saw in those photos, those projectors do 4K, but it's a 4K. It's like an artificial 4K. It's done with a like a wobulation chip, and they actually call it wobulation.
Yeah, which I
Um,
hate.
so it's actually just the chip shifting around into the 4K, making up that image.
That's like the PS4.
It's insane. Yeah, it's like an upres thing.
Yeah, yeah. We do 4K. We're the PS4 Pro. And that's not even 4K. It's just like a fake
Yeah.
one.
Yep. Yeah, but I think from a video capturing standpoint, like today I filmed in 4K because I was doing a single camera and I wanted that punch in, but I'm going to edit the video in 1080. Like there's
Yeah.
no reason for that video to be in 4K.
The only
So,
videos that I do in 4K fully are drone videos.
one and GoPro.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I
Because
don't know if I've
they're
done.
cropped.
Yeah, but I film. Okay, I'm not talking about like filming in 4K. I mean, I don't think I've made any just GoPro videos.
Yeah.
So I've probably downscaled to
Oh yeah,
1080
definitely.
for
Yeah.
that. I'm
Yeah.
talking about like exporting in 4K. Like, here's a
Gotcha.
4K video. I think that drone stuff is the only thing that I even think to do that on. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Dude, drone video. So like when I shoot in 4K on a DSLR, it's a little bit clearer and I get it that it's bigger, but it's like as far as quality goes, it doesn't add the quality to it that would necessitate like having all that extra file space, having to deal with overheating. It's just
Yep.
not worth it. But the drone stuff, if you shoot for some reason you shoot like HD in a drone and then you shoot 4K in a drone, dude, the 4K footage is 1,000 times more clear. It's like it's night and day. Like,
I also wonder with like ISOs, and you have native ISOs on cameras, and the native ISO is actually the best setting for that camera, regardless if it's a high ISO or a low ISO. So if it's like the Eva, the native ISO is 400 and 800. So it has dual ISOs. So at 400, that's the best quality footage that you would get, right? Because it's not spiking or lowering the power on the chip. So I wonder if like a camera is made for 4K, if like specifically native 4K, if down resing it actually makes it look worse. Like down resing it in the camera. I wonder if it's the same kind of situation with that.
I don't know. Well, I mean, we don't have any cameras that are native 4K, do we?
No, I don't, and I don't know if it's like I don't know if cameras are native resolutions.
I think it would be native to the setting. It would switch,
Yeah,
right? Like when you switched it to 4K, it'd be like, oh, now your native ISO is something different. I would
yeah,
think. I don't know.
yeah. I wonder if that's why like the DJI is just native to 4K, so the footage looks better. It also has twice as much detail or data, so you're picking up
But so
more.
do the other cameras.
Yeah,
Like I'm just saying, like for some reason, the drone footage I can tell by looking at it for a split second if it's HD or 4K. I
yeah,
can just instantly. It's like, oh, that's HD. It should have been shot in 4K, and it looks a lot better when you downscale it, like
yeah,
as well than just doing the HD. So like, I'll have an HD clip that was shot in HD. This rarely happens. This was like back when I was kind of messing with it. I mean, now I just shoot in 4K, but I would have a clip that was shot in 1080, and I'd bring it in on the timeline, and then I would bring in a 4K clip, downscale it to 1080, and that clip would still look 1,000 times better. It still has way more like detail. It's more clear. I don't know
yeah,
what the deal is. Same frame rates. It's not a frame rate issue. It's just for some reason with the drone footage, I can really tell like the difference in quality when I go to 4K more than I can with the DSLRs that we shoot, like for interviews and stuff. I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe it's the scope, because a drone I'm getting like the entire landscape, and instead like DSLRs I don't do that with that. So maybe it's just like the 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 subject matter, I guess. Maybe
yeah.
it's like, oh, I don't really notice the
It
detail
could
under
also
skin
boost. It could
as
also be
much.
boosting the 4K setting on the drone. Could also be boosting uh, not just the frame rate, but the compression rate as well. So it could be lowering the compression rate so that it's not so it's giving you more quality. There could
but, you,
be,
but you'd
you
think
know,
that the compression rate on 4K would be more because the files are so
yeah.
giant. You'd think.
Well, it could be a higher. What is it? The frequent the when you render it out and you have the different frame or not frame rates, but the frequency rate.
Yeah,
So it could be higher with that.
yeah,
So there could be a few reasons why, but
yeah.
I just I'm not a fan of the clients that just want 4K because they think they need it in 4K. Like I think 4K is a tool that needs to be used when you need it. But like we have clients that are like, no, film this in 4K. Well, where's it ever going to be seen? Oh, it's only going to be seen online.
Well, that's a money thing. In the quote,
Yeah.
they were like 4K. And then
Yep.
they're like, yeah, 4K. This is top of the line. And then you're like, do you have any 4K monitors? Well, no.
Yep.
Is it going to go someplace you know, that is capable of displaying 4K? No. But it's
Yep.
4K. If we want to, we could.
Yep.
Like, it's just a sales thing, I think, with that, which, dude, I'd hardly ever put I on quotes unless it's a very specific thing they ask for, or I don't ever put like 4K Dude, the file sizes are just so
It
outrageous.
changes everything. It changes
Yeah.
everything from the amount of equipment we bring, the amount of batteries we need,
Yeah.
logistics of shooting.
Yep.
Uh, Even now with these Canon cameras overheating in 4K,
Dude.
it changes everything.
Yeah.
So 4K shooting, and it's not just us. I mean, everyone. Most people just set. They're just used to shooting 4K,
Well,
so their entire thing is,
dude, and it's
it
not just the
becomes their thing.
Canon, and it's not just the Canon cameras. It's the other cameras overheating too. The problem is that all the Canon people are the most vocal about like, you got 20 minutes in 4K before you have to cut. With the firmware updates, almost 2 years after the camera comes out, you have 20 minutes per shot, and it's like, no, I don't. I have 15 minutes before I start sweating because the thing's going to shut off sometime in the next 5 minutes. And then there's the half hour that it takes for the camera to cool off. You can't,
Yep.
it's not like you just hit cut and then hit play again and go. Like, it's a thing where you have to sit there and physically blow into the camera, trying to blow all the heat out of it, like frantically trying to like cut down on, like, dude, if there's been times where if I had a cooler full of ice, I would have like wrapped the camera in something and probably set it in there, like, oh, this might take a 2 minutes off the cool down
Yeah,
time
yeah,
because
yeah.
we need it, like, oh man, dude, that, so it's like, no, it's actually, you get 20 a 20 minute shot every half an hour to 40 minutes. And they're, oh, well, what are you shooting that requires 20 minutes? I'll tell you what I'm shooting: a CEO that won't shut up.
Yeah.
CEO that does not understand that interviews do not have to be an hour long.
A CEO that was supposed to study their lines and know what they were saying before they came, a month before they're supposed to know what they're saying, and then they sit down and have no idea.
And prattle on,
So yeah,
prattle on. I mean, and a lot of times I mean, it's like, I would say that the majority of professional DL working professionals who use DSLRs are using them for some kind of interviews. And if you're doing a life story,
yeah,
or not a life story, but like a moment in time from someone's life, and you're asking them to describe it, 20 minutes goes by like that. 20 minutes is like, I mean, it's like, I remember when I woke up that morning, I brushed my teeth and my toothbrush felt weird.
yeah.
I couldn't put my finger on it. And before you know, 15 minutes has gone by, and you're looking at that red thermometer bar and all the Canon people whispering in your ear, you have 20 minutes.
And don't,
Like,
yeah, it actually like that. I don't know if you've actually seen that time limit go down though. I've seen it go from 15, 20 minutes to 15, like literally just click to 15. And then
oh,
I've seen it click from 15 to 5.
I've seen it
It,
go from 6 minutes to off.
yeah, yeah.
You have 6 minutes,
Hi, Laura.
and it just shuts off. Like,
Yeah. It's been
cut.
it's been a big, oh well, it's okay, Caleb. You know what? The solution is record to an external device. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh well, it's funny how your defense or justification for mirrorless cameras being smaller and less equipment is slowly dwindling as we can't even keep the damn things cool. And now
A-
we have to have an external monitor.
After you strap a giant battery to it.
After you strap Atomos to it and a giant
Like,
battery, and yeah, it's like,
it's like,
okay,
don't you understand? My mirrorless is smaller. Well, what's all that?
yeah,
Oh, that's all the things that I have to attach to it to make it bigger so it works how I need it to work.
yep,
Like, dude, I've always been really confused by the whole, like, mirrorless makes cameras smaller. I have never held a camera and been like, wow, I wish this thing was smaller. It's just it's a little chunky in my hand, and I can't deal with that. We need to
yeah.
redo the entire camera structure. I like
I
mirrorless
get it.
cameras.
I get it for like, I don't know, like when we do the cruise, I get having smaller gear that does similar stuff. I get smaller lenses. Most of the weight comes in the lenses.
Hmm.
Um, so I get all that,
Well,
but it's not an art. It's not a defense. You can't.
it's
I
a
don't.
defense that's gone away because now the the cameras are mirrorless, but they don't put those dumb tiny little batteries in them anymore. They just went back to
Yep.
putting the normal batteries in, which dude, it always blew my mind that they did that. Here's like Sony. Here's our mirrorless camera. You can't use the normal Sony batteries though, because now we have these tiny batteries that last a quarter of the time. Well,
Yep.
why? Wait, why'd you do that? Why don't you just use the normal batteries? Because this is smaller and lighter. Well, yeah, but I can't do what I need to do with it. Like,
It shuts off when I have to have my screen full brightness in Florida because I can't see it.
which, okay, that would have been okay if this was like some sort of like point and click camera for, that were for sale at Walmart and it was just for like family photos. It's like, okay,
Yep.
like at Disney, that'd be like whatever. Okay, I get that. Your form factor's smaller. You don't need a battery. But dude, when I use that Sony, like the AR, what, 2? Like what was that one?
A7,
A7
A7
II?
Mark, A7R Mark II.
Okay. That camera, I remember I was filming with that and I got like 20 minutes out of the battery total.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I need to do a battery change now. Weird. I don't know. But I think that the mirrorless thing is like the advocates for mirrorless are getting away from the dumb argument that the cameras are smaller. I think that they're
Yeah.
getting away from that.
And I'm not bashing only the Canons because I like
No,
filming with the Canons. I like the focus on it.
I've used
I
Canons
just
exclusively for
yeah
2 years now. I think
yeah for
I don't think
video.
I don't think I've used well besides GoPro, but
And the Panasonic, we were using the Panasonic for a little bit, but
I hated every
it's just
minute
too
of
much.
using that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was never a big. I mean, okay, if I was to be doing a short film,
we'd use that
I'd say, okay, we're going to
100%.
use that and buy all the insane amount of gear that
The
we need to,
focus wrecking and
and
the yeah
the steady whatever to make it smooth and the giant rigs to have it float around. But as
yep
far as being a practical working camera, I hated working with that thing. Like it was just
yep
like, how do you do this? I didn't like the buttons you had to hit on the side for like the focus.
yep.
Remember that? That was weird. I mean,
One, it's
albeit
a single focus. It doesn't. It's not a constant focus.
yeah, yeah.
So as long
So
as your subject isn't moving, you're
and I'm
fine.
and I'm mostly bashing that camera as someone who used that camera for pretty much everything besides what it was meant for. So so when I say that I hated
Yeah,
using that camera, it's like because it's like I was using like a normal camera for like diving. I hated it. It's not waterproof.
it just shut
Like
off.
it filled up full of water. Like it's like
It's-
me saying it's pretty much like me saying that. So I understand that
it
it is a
doesn't make
really
any
it's
sense.
a really good camera. I just didn't like using that camera for, what I normally do or what
Yeah,
we normally do. It was frustrating.
yeah, it's pretty wild. I think it's more of when you have clients that specifically are asking for. I also it's funny because I also feel like we kind of play the game a little bit with like telling them equipment just because I feel like some of them want to know. But for the
Yeah.
most part, like some companies will just I've seen gear lists from people pitching to a client who just no okay, it's the client of theirs is not like a production company. Like I get a production if you're going to work for a production company, they would want to know the gear list that you're going to bring,
Hmm.
right? Or like if someone were to work for us directly, we would want to know what kind of equipment they're bringing to shoot, right? It's not a selling point to me, but I would want to know what kind of equipment they're going to bring so that we have to deal with that, right? But like if it's an end client who just wants a finalized video, they don't care what kind of camera you get. They shouldn't, right? They should just care that I need this for YouTube, I need it for our website, make it happen. It doesn't
Yep.
they don't need to know, oh, I'm shooting with an R6. and uh, this kind of microphone and this kind of audio recording and these lights. It's just overkill for them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but we don't run into that a lot unless it's like agencies. Sometimes agencies just want to know to justify the money that they're charging your clients.
On the other hand, agencies have paid us to film like
TikTok,
$15,000, $20,000 projects with phones.
yeah.
So
Specifically, we're like, here's our gear list, and they're like, no,
yeah,
use a phone.
use a phone.
Yeah, my
It-
trusty
it's
Samsung
so funny.
S21 with a
Woo!
grip.
Yeah,
So that's
it's so
officially made
funny.
me more money than some cameras that I own.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
tax
that's
write off.
crazy. Yeah, your phone. Oh yeah, yeah, that's
It's a tax write off.
funny.
So, hey, let us know if you guys have any questions about anything photography, photo, video,
How many people are on
clients.
there? I can't see that.
We've got one person who's watching us on Spectacle Photos Facebook. I've been trying to
Woo!
share, I'm going to share this to a group. Let's see if I can share it to a group. What group should I share it to? I can't do it to the uh,
Photographers.
Orlando photographers won't let me do it. I can do it to the Salty Dog Exchange. It's giving me, which is insane that it's giving me all these places that I could do. Full Sail Film Group. That should be interesting. I'm going to do it. I'm probably going to get kicked out because sometimes they're just like, hey, what are you doing? This
Yeah.
isn't allowed in my group. And you know what's, I know this is going to sound bad, but people who run groups, some of these groups, it's like they think they're running a country and the rules get out of control. And I get it. Oh, you've got a ton of people in there, but let's see if we can do it to uh, Orlando Theater off camera flash.
What? What does
Off
that
camera
mean?
flash community.
Off-camera flash, like, like,
Strobes.
yeah, just this. Okay.
Want me to share it in there? It's good. I'm gonna get kicked out of so many groups and I don't
This,
even care.
the top of
If
your
only this
camera,
was TikTok.
the top of your camera seems a little clean. You've been sliding a, have you been sliding a flash onto this? There's no dust on this plate.
There's
Like,
no, yeah.
like
Hot shoe. Why do you need that?
hot shoe. Your hot shoe's kind of clean there. It's
Yeah,
got some scrape marks on it. It's almost like you've been putting something on it.
yeah.
Wouldn't be a light, would it be? No, no, I swear, it's just a trigger. Uh
Let's do the Orlando photography group. Here we go. All right, we have two viewers. They're coming in. They're coming
huh.
in hot.
Oh.
Yeah. Let us know if you guys have any questions. We'll try to answer them to the best of our abilities. So, hey, how about this? Our April was completely pretty much booked and then died almost as quickly as it filled up with shifting schedules. We're getting a lot of clients that are like, we need this date. We have to have this date. And then
Yeah.
we're on this end going, how are you guys going to do that? And then it's like, oh no, we're shifting the dates. We're going to go now that you've blocked out everything, we're going to
What?
do it this date.
Like, what is that?
It's a recent thing too. It's
It
a
really
new
is.
thing where it's like
It's like they're
tomorrow, tomorrow,
scrambling.
tomorrow.
It's like they're scrambling, and then they do the opposite of scrambling. Like,
They
we
wind up
have to
wasting
have it.
more time.
We have to have it done in a week. Have to. Has to be that Tuesday. Okay. And then, like, 3 days before that Tuesday, it's like, we're just gonna like chill on it. Do you have anything available in 2 months? Like,
Yeah,
okay, this
yeah.
was like a hot ticket item, and now all of a sudden it's like you're still doing it, but it's on some kind of back burner.
And we're
I
not,
don't
yeah, and
know.
it's I think a couple of years ago it would have been like, oh my God, did we lose that gig? Like what happened? But we're not
Yeah.
losing the gig. It's just getting delayed.
Yeah.
Some of them have even paid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have some things that I'm doing. I was supposed to be doing next month paid, and they're like, oh, we're going to push it till December,
Hmm.
and it's like, okay. So
Yeah.
you and I had been talking about potentially putting in a contract in our contract that um, we're going to pretty much give a time limit based on the deposit
Yeah.
because it's almost like a quote. I guess some of them feel like if they lock in the payment now, that's always going to be there, no matter how much they delay the project. So I think if you put like a time limit that says, because some quotes they say you get quotes from some companies, it's like this quote's only valid for 30 days.
Yep.
We can't guarantee what this is, that this quote will be valid longer than 30 days. So why can
Hmm.
someone pay in advance and then that quote stays the same?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
we have no idea what's going to happen.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think we're going to start adding that into the contracts where it's like you have 60 days to complete this project from the time of the deposit,
Yeah.
or else, unless they're
Because we
booking.
have we have like hard, like, non-refundable. Okay, so when we send out a quote, I always put in the things that I always put in is cancellation of project by client, uh, client no shows, loss of communication from client, acts of God, and things like that are like non-refundable.
Yep.
Like are not do not warrant a refund. I put that in every quote that I do, and so and then in our system when they accept it, it goes on. That also goes onto the invoice. So it's like but it's like no, that's kind of a more specific thing where it hasn't really become a problem yet, but I could see where it could be a problem where it's like, no, we're not canceling the project. We're just moving it. Like,
I think it should
and
say something like you have you have 30 days from the scheduled project date to complete it.
yes.
So, because we have some clients that book us out 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
So that's different, right? So we don't want to say, okay, you have 30 days to pay to do your project from that. It should
Yeah.
be you have 30 days from the original project date
Yep.
to complete the shoot because anything past that we can't guarantee that will even be available,
Yeah.
you know. And then we're on the hook and a company with, in an industry with very little cash flow. It's not, we don't have just money floating around coming in daily.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah, I mean, sure. So I don't think we got anything from these other groups. I'm trying to think of what other groups I can get kicked out of.
whatever.
Um, let's see. The NFT crypto art group.
No.
Let's talk about crypto.
No.
Let's talk about what NFT stands for. No effing time for these graphics. That's what it means.
It's funny.
Let's see. Share. Who else do we got on here? Central Florida photographers and cosplayers. Let's talk about cosplay. Um, I like photographing cosplayers. I
When
think
you
they're
can.
fun when you can. There's some cosplayers that are so big they won't even get in touch with you. There's
Or
some cosplayers that started off small and were talking to me and then got so big that now I can't even get in touch with them.
got so big.
Big, huge. They're influencers, Caleb.
I mean,
They're cosplaying influencers.
yeah.
I do like cosplayers. I like them better when they aren't necessarily a character that I enjoy or like.
I don't. What do you mean? I don't like have like
Like
an opinion of
I
them
feel
based
like
on
I'm
their
more
character.
critical with cosplayers if it's like a character that I like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But if it's a character that I don't like, I don't have anything to say. So
I don't have anything to
I
say
don't
anyway.
notice any of the badly glued together foam.
I do. I don't even care what they are. If it's like crappy, you can tell it's crappy. I don't have like some personal like, not only is it crappy, it's a crappy Batman. And
Yeah.
I just can't believe that you've done that to him. Like, I don't have it's like if it's
It's
crappy,
more
it's
offensive
crappy.
to me. It's more offensive to me if it's
I mean, I
something I
guess
like.
on some level it is, but even like if it's some like obscure, I don't know, anime person that I've never heard of, it's still like, geez, whoever you're cosplaying as, you are doing wrong because
Yeah.
that was the first wig that you clicked on Amazon.
That
Like,
one. Yeah.
dude, I find that dude, the things
This
that
is
bug
a
me
Ruby's wig from Spirit Halloween.
Dude, the things that bug me the most about cosplayers are like the bad female wigs. Dudes,
Yeah.
they don't. I don't see them wearing wigs as much, but the ladies are always doing like the crazy hairstyles of like anime and sci-fi chicks, and some of those wigs, dude, are just like, oh my gosh, that is the worst. They're like set here, like the
Yeah.
hairline is like right above their eyes.
And it
Dude.
looks like the seam looks like a hat
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's so big that
It's
it
like
comes out.
round,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
It's like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's how
yeah.
the
Those
chicken
bug me
that's how the
so
chicken
much,
venom was.
dude. Yeah.
That wig was so bad. Which is
What?
crazy. It's like the worst looking part of this movie is not the giant CG blob
Yeah,
monster, it's the wig on this actor's head.
dude. I'd forgotten about that. That's the
Yeah,
first
huge
movie,
wig.
right?
Yeah, the
The
first
first
one.
one. Yeah, yeah. What was that all about again? Forgot about that.
I think she was shooting a different movie.
Yeah, because she didn't have
So
that in the sequel.
I don't think she did, or they got a better wig.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, all the
I forgot
characters
that thing
in
was like its own character.
dude,
That wig.
all the characters in Lord of the Rings have wigs on, and they look great. So
Yeah, I've, I've never complained about
The
them.
Lego guy from Lord of the Rings,
I don't know
the
what you're talking about.
the bow and arrow guy, the elf,
Oh yeah,
Lego,
Lego
Legolas.
He's got no Legos.
He's got no Legos. Yeah, I'm Legolas.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
funny. Cool. Well, let's see. I have shared this in quite a few groups, but let's share it in the Scottish photographers and models group.
Weird. Okay,
Yeah.
it's pretty
So
specific.
that is a group that I joined when we before we went to Scotland.
Mm.
I joined that group
I couldn't find any models.
I joined that group a year before we went to Scotland.
Hmm.
Um, tried to find models there, couldn't find. No one replied to anything I had on there.
Yeah.
Nothing, not even a like. I would post, going to be in Scotland this date. Let me know because we would have changed our trip. We would have,
Yeah.
if we had a model to work with
Yep.
around Edinburgh or like Glasgow, it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Someone to like could show us a little bit around and also cool spots to shoot. But
Yeah.
we had to go
Yep.
find a farmer in the middle of nowhere and
Yeah.
photograph
To be our
him.
model.
Let's see, Mr. What was his name? Mr. Hendrickson, I think his name was. I have a photo of him. Hold on.
Something like that.
Let's see. He was awesome.
Yeah.
So we're driving around Scotland and we see all these massive farms and we never see a farmer. There's no farmer for forever. We don't see anyone. So finally, uh, we happen to look down a driveway and see this old
See a
guy.
single farmer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a single farmer with his dog.
yeah.
And what was funny about it is, I remember we went down his driveway. You know, these two guys coming down his driveway, and he was like, okay, fine, you can take my photo, but he had a brand new car in his driveway, and he also had these two dilapidated um, barns on each side. And we were like, all right, can you stand in front of this barn? And he's like, no, 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 I don't want the barn in the photo. And then he was like, no, I want my brand new car. So the dude made us take a photo of him with his brand new car before he let us take a photo with the dilapidated barns. So I was like, this is, he's like, no, no, show off my car. And we're like, no, let's show off these awesome barns. And he's like, this is old. This could fall down at any moment. We're like, that's our point. We love it. So anyway, all right. So we're about at an hour. Um,
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah,
cool. Oh, I mean, I need to do better. We both need to do better on our part to.
promote it.
Well, yeah. I mean, like put on our personal pages that we're going to be live and stuff like that. I,
Well, and also comment down below what time works better for people. So,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, if
The
we, if we're cutting into Outlander time and,
I can't watch them. Kimmel's on.
Kimmel's on.
Like, like,
It's Jimmy Fallon or these
yeah,
idiots.
yeah.
Who's gonna...
Like, yeah. And also, I don't know. I haven't been doing that as much because we haven't been scheduling it. But now that I have it pretty much set up here, so I can get on in like 5 minutes or whatever. Then now we can start scheduling it more. I want to start doing it on. I'd like to start doing it on Mondays.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good. Maybe.
Yeah, it's so easy for us to go live. I just say, Alexa, turn off studio. And
Why didn't
nothing
that just
happens,
do anything?
apparently. It didn't do anything. Alexa, turn off studio.
Oh, now you're in the dark.
There you go. So, Alexa, turn on studio. So I finally figured out, Alexa, turn on studio. I finally figured out why.
I forgot to do that. Echo, turn on lights. Oh, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
So my plugs kept cutting out. They kept.
Your-
Remember when I was telling you they keep.
He said plugs.
Yeah. They remember when I told you they keep disconnecting from my server.
Yes.
It's because Spectrum just keeps. From what I was reading, it's because it's the signal variations.
Yeah, you told me
So
that.
yeah, when the
Did they
router
fix it?
gets to, well, so far it's been pretty good for the last 2 days, but
Mm.
I keep having to reconnect these plugs, and I'm like, I'm just going to buy new ones, and then I look it up, and it's like, no, it would do it to any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the router keeps assigning it new IP addresses, so because it's a different signal,
Gotcha.
because Spectrum keeps having variations in their signals, so
Which is crazy because I set these up a year ago
yeah.
and no issue. I mean, dude, you have way more going on than I do. I've got one of those plugs. Like, you have like 5 or whatever. But the only reason I don't have that many is because every time I go to buy one, it's like $25 for one light plug.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, look at this, dude. It's like that's just from today.
Oh, those are like your errors.
Those are errors from today.
I thought they were going to be fixing that. Like, oh wait,
They're
they're coming out tomorrow or something.
they're
Or?
like monitoring it or something like that.
I thought they
So
said they were going to send someone out to the pole like 3 days from when you talked to them last.
so it's funny because being in a service-based industry, you can kind of catch clues on what's actually going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So like from what it sounds like to me is that the technician came out. It was supposed to be a supervisor, but it wound up being like a senior technician.
Okay.
So I still got bumped down one tier for technician. So he tests the entire house, and then he goes and he's like, "Listen, we need to send out a because the signal at the pole is like dropping off and spiking and dropping off,
Yeah.
and that's what's causing your routers to signal out." So, but the tone in his voice made it sound like he was like, "We have to get it approved for someone to come out and do that." Because it
Okay.
wasn't just like, because he's like, "I'm gonna have you talk to my supervisor and he'll tell you what's going on." And then he was kind of like, instead of just saying like, "Oh, it's not approved for us to do that, we have to get it approved," he's like, "We need to monitor your signal and your router for X amount of time,
Yeah.
and then they'll get approval to come out and say, look, they're like, basically they have to prove to Spectrum that they need to rerun wires or do whatever." So
Gotcha.
yeah, so fun, but
We have to approve making your internet work.
yeah, I like these graphics. Like this restream has these. I just found these today where we could make these graphics that
What?
pop up.
What did that just say?
This is
Watermarks are for armatures.
amateurs.
That's amateurs. That's okay. That
Yeah.
that is not spelled right.
There are
Like
no spelling.
that's for
There's no.
dummies. Like
Those are
DUI.
yeah.
Like DUM. Dumbass. Like DUMIS.
Dumas. Those are for dummies.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. It's like saying it's like it's calling someone a genius and not knowing how to spell genius.
Yeah. Yeah. Genus.
You genius?
Yeah. Oh, you're a real
Yeah.
Janus.
That's all right. We just these. I'll use these graphics exclusively to talk trash to people
Yeah.
on our one-way street of trash talking. So anyway, all right, cool. Thanks everyone for watching, and yeah,
Yeah,
tune
we'll
in
be on
next
here
week.
next next week.
We'll promote it and get the word out so you can program your DVRs and record us or find us on demand
On the Roku.
on the Roku. Yeah, set your VCRs for record
On
and make sure
Roku.
you're not recording over some old episode that you didn't watch.
Yeah. Yep.
All right,
Later.
later.